Good morning, guys. A very warm good morning from the team Biopoint, Stream the World of Bio. So, once again, we are back with yet another session on Living World with the sweet Biopoint Jwala batch. So, welcome you all. A very warm good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining in this session. Yes, come on. Is the audio and video perfectly clear? Is the audio and video perfectly clear, guys? I'm not getting any response. Yes, Abhijit. Yes, Nanda Kishore. Yes, yes, everyone. Okay, fine. So, welcome to this session of Biopoint. So, everyone, let's upgrade with Biopoint for the sweet Neet 2023 batch, and more than Neet, we will be more focusing with you with the board examination topics also. Okay, guys. So, everyone, are you ready for this session? If you are ready, give me thumbs up on the screen. If you are ready for this session, give me thumbs up on the screen so that we will start the today's lecture for you, sweet, the Jwala batch. Yes. Okay, guys. So keep joining with me till the session gets ended so that this entire topic that we are going to cover in this first lecture will be exactly clear for you. Okay, guys. So let's move on with today's session on the lecture one of Living World. Yes. As you all know, we have launched the Biopoint Jwala batch for the Sweet Need 2023 batch for your preparation for guiding you to the ultimate success for the NEET examination as well as the board examinations. So that and this sessions we will be covering both the topics that is in detail as well as the topics that you have to attend in the form of MCQs as well. Yes, so let's move on. And now, what I have to remind you is that tomorrow at 5 p.m. you have another session on the career options available after class 12. That's the best strategy for stream selection after grade 10. Okay, guys. So yesterday, we have seen a lot of discussions in the group that you are confused about selecting the stream. You are asking doubts which all stream, if we take which all stream, which all jobs can be can be taken future. So to clear all your confusions today evening, right at 4:15 p.m., we are coming live with the career options available after class 12 and which stream that you have to select for your class 11th and 12th. So no more confusions. Let's move on with today's session. So do not forget to join this session for stream selection right at 4:15 p.m. Now, what I have to remind you is that right in the description box, you can see the link for the Telegram group. For the Telegram group for Neet, and this Telegram group for Biopoint 10 also will be going along with this Neet batch group. So kindly, we are requesting you to join this Telegram group for Neet batch, that is t.me/neet underscore biopoint. The direct link is given there in the description box. So let's check it and join right now. Okay. So moving on, and that's all what I have to say as an introductory part. And now, just reminding you to hit the like button, do share it with your friends, and do subscribe. Biopoint, stream the world of bio. So let's move on with today's session. So hope you all are perfectly ready with the full Josh. We are moving on to today's session on the Living World lecture number one. Yes, guys. So now let me explain that what are the subtopics of this chapter. The subtopics that are there in this chapter is living, what is living, of that diversity in living world, of that taxonomic categories, and after that taxonomical aid. So how we have planned to divide this is that we have planned to take this what is living in the very first lecture, that is today. The diversity in living world and taxonomical categories in the second lecture. Guys, I'm not receiving your chats. Is there anyone? Yes, 11 participants are shown here right now. Everyone be active in the comment section. And taxonomical aids. If we move on with the third lecture, that is the taxonomical aids. So we have planned to complete the entire chapter of living world in 3 sessions. This chapter is from zoology. Living world is from zoology, and at the end part of the taxonomical aids, you can have a mix of both zoology and botany. Okay. Yes, Devesh. Yes, Malswami Balasubramaniam. Everyone. Okay, fine. So this is how we have divided the lecture of living world. And what else to say is that soon after this detailed lecture, you will be having another lecture on NCRT highlight. NCRT highlight of this chapter, and after that you will be having a Quizopedia session, that is a quiz from entire chapter, entire topics of living world. Yes, everyone, is it clear? Yes. So if we analyze how the scores or how the weightage of the chapters is in the last 8 years for the NEET or AIPMT, we can see that the topic that we are going to learn today, that is what is living, is not at all asked in the previous 8 years. Previous 8 years, this topic is not at all asked. They wish length of one session we cannot predict right now, but as we are continuing with it, the length will be what cannot be predictable. Okay, so the second topic, that is diversity in living world. Diversity in living world, you can see the second lecture 45% we are having diversity in living world, and the third topic taxonomic category, that too we are combining with the second lecture. You have 11% weightage for in the last 8 years NEET or AIPMT examinations, right? So and since we are compiling these two lectures, so we can what study the next in the next lecture, that is the 56% of weightage for the weightage in the last 8 years, right? And the last topic taxonomical aids, that is 44% asked for NEET or AIPFT examinations. Then yes, last 33 years, if you are taking about last 33 years, we can see the 9% it is what is living, that is today's lecture. Then diversity in living world 46%, taxonomic categories 27%, and taxonomical aids 18%. So these are the subtopics of this chapter, and this is how we are analyzing the last 33 years paper. Since we are not having board examinations for CBSE class 11, we are not at all we cannot analyze how much is the weightage for such a chapter in the examination. Anyway, we will be covering both the detailed lecture and the lectures for you to answer the MCQs. Okay, guys. So moving on with today's session on what is living. So are you all ready to start today's session with me? With the Gene Biopoint stream, the world of bio. Are you all ready? Give me thumbs up on the screen. Come on. Come on, come on. Yes, Abhijit. Yes, Bal Subramanian. Yes, Nisha. Yes, Nandakishore. Yes, everyone. So let's move on with the first lecture for the NEET 2023 Biopoint Jwala batch. Living World, lecture number 1. What is living? The first topic of the day. Okay. So, as you all know, can anybody comment what is a living thing? What is a living thing? As you all know, anything which has life in it, we are saying that it is known as living thing, right? So, if you are moving in detail with that, objects that exhibit growth, right? Living organisms grow, right? Living organisms have their internal developments too. Please recommend some books or physics, chemistry, and biology for class 11. Yes, they wish soon we will be coming with yet another session for best books that are to be taken, that are to be taken for mentoring Neet 2020, that are need to be mentoring Neet and JE and all those board examinations. Everything will be doing that as soon as possible. Okay, so living organisms develop internally and they respond to external stimuli, right? If anyone, for example, if we humans are touching a hot pan, soon we'll withdraw our hands as a part of reflex action, right? So we all respond to an external stimuli, we all adapt to a particular surrounding. All living organisms adapt to a particular surrounding and they all reproduce to ensure the continuity of species. Same thing we have learned in the class 10 CBSE chapter, how do organisms reproduce. Why is reproduction important? Why? In order to ensure the continuity of species, reproduction is important. So an object or an organism showing all these features, we can see it is a living being. Is that clear till now? Is that clear? What is a living being? Is that clear? Everyone? Why no response? Come on. Okay, fine. Yes, yes. Once more, sir. Sure. So, sure. Okay. So, what we have discussed as the first topic is what is living. So, that is the topic that we are going to cover this day. And first, we have discussed this what is a living being? What is a living being? If we ask a question to a student of 5th standard or 4th standard, we will say any organism that has life in it is known as what? Living being. Right. So if we are moving in detail with that, living organisms, what are the processes or the entities that the living organisms show? They have the power of growth, right? They have the power of development. They have the power to respond to an external stimuli. They have the power of adaptation and they have the power to reproduce in order to ensure the continuity of species. So an organism showing exhibiting all these processes are known as living beings. Is that clear? The one who was asked this Balasubramanian, is that clear for you? Okay. So first we are gonna learn in detail about growth. If we are moving, yes, growth. Irreversible increase in mass of individuals is known as growth. So increase in size or mass of an organism. So for example, if we say what a living being, that is an example is a human. If we say that a human is growing, how can we say that? Do we analyze the internal growth? No. We will just say by its external growth, that is whether he has increased in his height or increased in its size or anything like that. So increase in height or size or mass of an individual is known as growth. Okay, increase in size or mass of an individual is known as growth, and all living organisms grow. All living organisms grow, and one exceptional case is that do living or living things grow? Do non-living things grow, guys? Comment me right now. Do non-living things grow? Yes or no? If we analyze in case of non-living things, we can say that mountains first was like a hill, right? After accumulation of certain substances like stones, sand, all those things, after accumulation of those things, they increase in their height, right? So Saumya says no, Balasubramanian says no, Abhijit says some grows, Nandita says no. Yes, if we say about that, non-living things also grow. See, as we have discussed, growth is just an increase in mass or size. So if these stones are just accumulating on that and these hills are turning onto mountains, so we can say that mountains are also growing, right? So non-living things also grow. So examples in case of mountains, stones, crystals, etc. Non-living things also grow, and that process of growth on non-living things is known as accretion. Accretion, that is the process of growth of non-living things. Is that clear? Do you want me to explain it again? Mountains also grow. First, the mountains were like hills, that is, they were short, too short, right? And after the accumulation of certain stones, sand, and all those things due to weathering, these all starts to grow, right? So mountains also grow, that is non-living things also grow along with living organisms. So we cannot say that growth is a defining property of living organisms, right? Growth is not a defining property. Why? Because both living and non-living things grow. So if we say in case, or if we see an object and if we say that it is growing, we cannot determine that it is only a living organism, because we have now discussed that non-living things also grow, right? Fine. So we cannot say that growth as a defining property. Is that clear? Is that clear? We are moving very slowly in order to ensure the clarity. So, what are defined property? This question is what I have kept in my mind in order to ask you after completing this session. After completing this session, you have to answer what all are the defining properties of living organisms. Okay? Okay, Jagadevi Nanti. Yes. Moving on with today's session. Next slide. Multicellular organisms increase its mass by cell division. So we humans are multicellular, and how we are increasing our mass by simply multiplying our cells. We are increasing in our size and we are increasing our weight. Right. In plants, growth continues throughout their lifespan. All of you know that. In plants, the growth is what continuing throughout their lifespan, whereas in animals it stops after a certain period. If possible, please take live in Zoom or Google Meet or an MS Team. Why they wish? Why? So animals growth is only up to a certain age, whereas in plants the growth is continuing. And later what we have to discuss is cell division occurs in order to replace the lost cells. So if we look in this diagram, you can see if you are not knowing this organism, if you are taking in case of a lizard too, if the tail of the lizard is just cut, or if it is just removing the tail from its body, the tail starts to regenerate. Again, the tail starts to regenerate. That is how cells divide in order to replace the cells that are lost from their body. That is how cell division ensures the growth in a living organism. So, how we can conclude this phenomenon of growth? We can conclude that growth is not a defining property without any exception, like in some non-living organisms, is called defining property. Exactly, Abhijit. Defining property means that by seeing an organism, by checking on these phenomena, that is growth, reproduction, adaptation, metabolism, all these things, we have to analyze whether that is living. On that first look itself, we have to say that whether it is a living organism or a non-living organism, right? That is how we are defining an organism as a property of living. Okay, is that clear? Is that clear? Are you understanding? Are you able to follow with me? If no, just comment down right now. Are you able to follow what I'm saying right now? Then only I'm moving on with the next property, that is reproduction. Come on. Yes. Okay, happy to hear that. And now let's move on with reproduction. Yes. The next property is reproduction, and that's all for growth as we have discussed. And now we are moving on with the reproduction. Okay. And what is reproduction? All of you have learned in class 10, that is how do organisms reproduce. So comment me right now, what is reproduction? Yes, we are here to explain your doubts and clear each and every concepts for you. So as we have continued with the entire class 10, just cooperate with us and just move on with and finally have an ultimate success. Okay, come on. What is reproduction? Just comment me. What is extrinsic growth, sir? Extrinsic growth means external growth. That is what we have discussed in case of non-living organisms. And to we humans, that is the increase in height, that is an extensive growth, right? Extensive growth. And in case of mountains, stones are just accumulating onto it. That is also an extensive growth. Yes, Lucifer. Yes, Abhijit. The process of producing offsprings of the same kind, process of reproduce the same ones. Yes, exactly. Yes, Saurabh. Hello, and everyone. That is what reproduction is, as we have studied in class 10. And now, reproduction, as we have discussed, is the formation of new individuals of same kind of the similar species and all. And organisms, as we have discussed as the very first point of how do organisms reproduce, it can reproduce sexually as well as sexually. Organisms can reproduce sexually as well as sexually. Certain organisms, if we say like mules, anybody comment me right now, what are mules? Mules, worker bees, worker honeybees, infertile human couples, that is sterile human couples, that is human couples who cannot reproduce, are there, that organisms cannot reproduce, though they are living. Though mules, worker honeybees, and infertile human couples are living, they cannot reproduce. Okay, therefore, how we can conclude reproduction is that reproduction is also not a defining property of living organisms. So, guys, I'm asking you a question right now. Why we have concluded growth is not a defining property of living organism? Why we have said that growth is not a defining property of living organism? Come on. Why we have discussed that growth is not a defining property of living organism? Yes, come on, speed up. Just simple one point is the answer. That is yes, exactly, Lucifer. Non-living objects also grow. Yes, Abhijit. Yes, Jagadevi. Yes, I hope we have written exceptions, but what it came is expectations. Okay, so non-living organism, that is the answer, because some exception in growth, that is non-living objects also grow. And now what we are concluding is that Nisha, that's not the point. In humans, growth stops after a certain period, and in plants, it continues to what lifelong growth continues. What the point is that the defining property of living organism is non-living. Why it is not considered as a defining property is non-living objects also grow. In the same way, reproduction we cannot consider it as a defining property, because certain living organisms like mules, worker bees, infertile human couples also do not reproduce. Though they are living, they do not reproduce. So we cannot conclude these organisms as we cannot consider this property as a defining feature for living organisms. Is that clear? Come on, be active. Come on. Enjoying this session with the class 11. I know it's a bit difficult to start to follow with this class 11 topics, but I'm moving very slowly. Yes, Soumya, I'm moving very slowly in order to make each and every concepts clear. So how their species continue. In mules and worker honeybees, mules mean it is a combination of two different organisms, right? Everyone have learned that mules is a combination of two different organisms, that is of a male donkey and a female horse. That is of a male donkey and a female horse. That is the combination of mule. So like that, a combination of like that, different male donkeys and different female horses just uh, what to say, just come together and move this process of reproduction in order to ensure the continuity of species for mules by both the male donkey and female horse. Okay, male donkey and female horse, not by these mules. Okay, in case of worker honeybees, they just do their works, and the other bees, like there are a queen bee who just takes care of all these eggs and all. Okay, and there are just certain other bees just laying eggs and just taking care of in order to ensure the continuity of species. Okay, so the and infertile human couples by certain human treatments that as we have learned by IVF treatment, in vitro fertilization, IVF treatment, we can fertilize externally and we can just place the egg inside the human female. Like that, infertile human couples also reproduce by artificial means. Okay, therefore we cannot say, and concluding that reproduction is also not a defining property of living organisms. Yes. Abhijit, is it clear? Okay, fine. The third thing is cellular structure. Cellular structure or cellular organization. All organisms are made up of cells. As we have discussed, cell is the structural and functional unit of all living organisms. And all living organisms are made up of cells, whereas we cannot say that non-living organisms are made up of cells. Since they are made up of dead cells, not at all living. So if a living cell is present in the body of any organism, we can see that organism is a living one, and thus cellular organization is a defining property of living organism. Is that clear? Others, Balsubramanian, Nisha, Jagadevi, then Lucifer, everyone, are you all here? Abhijit, Saumya. So hope this topic to cellular. Yes, cellular structure is also clear since they are made up of one or more cells, and since they are made up of living cells, living organisms are made up of living cells, we can see cellular structure as a defining property of living beings. Can't understand, sir. Which topic, Balasubramanian? Come on, comment me right now which topic is not at all clear for you. I will explain soon after moving on with the next topics. Yes, the next one is metabolism. What is metabolism? It is the sum of all biochemical processes in our body. Sum of all reaction, that is digestion, respiration, circulation, excretion, or sum of all these metabolic, sum of all these processes together constitute the process of metabolism. Yes, cellular organized structure or cellular organization, I will explain soon after explaining this metabolism. Okay, fine. Okay. So sum total of all biochemical reactions taking place inside a living being is known as metabolic process. And these metabolic reactions can be demonstrated even outside a living body. That is in cell-free system, that is outside a cell. Okay, so metabolic reactions can be conducted even outside a cell. Therefore, we can see this metabolism as a defining property. But if any other options are there along with metabolism, you should give priority to the other options. For example, if the other option, like what we have discussed earlier, is cellular structure, if cellular structure and metabolism are given together, we have to answer cellular structure. Okay, if option A is cellular structure and option B is metabolism, and ask what is the defining property, you have to give more priority to cellular structure, because this metabolism can be demonstrated in cell-free systems too. That is even outside the cell. Even outside the cell, we can demonstrate this metabolism. Therefore, we can see it has a defining property, but we should give priority to the other ones. Is that clear? Is that clear, everyone? Why, sir? Why, sir? The reason is that in lab, in lab, in laboratories, outside the cell, that is outside the living cell, we can demonstrate the process of metabolism. Yes, Binaya, we can demonstrate the process of metabolism. So we cannot say that we cannot give a priority to metabolism along with others. Is that clear? Then anabolism and catabolism are the two processes of metabolism, two types of metabolism. And anabolism refers to the constructive constructive process, that is the building up reaction, that is photosynthesis, new products are formed, formation of starch from glucose. Okay, new products, that is new complex products are formed in case of anabolism. And catabolism is breakdown reaction, that is destructive process. In case of respiration, that is we are breaking down oxygen in order to provide energy, in order to get energy. We are breaking down food in order to get energy. All these are catabolic process or breakdown reactions. Is that clear? Is that clear? The process of metabolism. Is that clear? Yes, Soumya, respiration is an example for catabolism. Abhijit, you also have asked what is catabolism. Is it clear right now? Yes, Balasubramanian. Devesh, are you here? Yes, Binaya. Fine. So now Balasubramanian has asked what is cellular structure. So once again, sir. Yes, yes, we'll do it. So cellular structure. Now I'm explaining cellular structure for the one who have asked out, that is Balasubramanian. And now let me do that right now. So all of you listen very carefully. Cellular structure. Cellular structure is the defining property of living beings. So we have said that defining property refers to what is after analyzing an organism with a certain point of cellular structure. If it is agreeing with that point, we can see it is a defining property of living organism, right? Without any exceptions, if it is agreeing with the living being, we can see it is a defining property of living organism. So, in case of cellular structure, everyone just keep it in your mind that only living organisms contain living cells. That is in case of bark of other dead plants. If a bark of dead plant is given there, is there in a floor, if you take on and analyze it under a microscope, we can see only dead cell in that. No living cell might be found there. So only living organisms contain living cell. Therefore, we can say cellular structure is a defining property of living organism. Balasubramanian, is it clear? Is it clear for you? Yes. Yes, fine. Next is asked by Jagadevi for metabolism. Okay, look here. We have to discuss right now is the types of metabolism. So metabolism is of two types. That is anabolism and catabolism. Anabolism refers to constructive process. What is meant by construction? We are just constructing, we are just building. We are just building. That is an upward growth. That is like an upward growth, right? Building up reaction. For example, in case of photosynthesis, carbon dioxide and water react together to form glucose. That is a complex compound. It is a constructive process. A complex compound is constructed by combining carbon dioxide and water. Is it clear? Is it clear about anabolism? Is it clear about anabolism? Come on. Yes. Then catabolism. If you are moving with catabolism, it is a destructive process. That is in case of respiration. That is we are breaking down oxygen in order to release energy. That is in form of ATP molecules, adenosine triphosphate molecules, in order to ensure energy for different bodily process. Yes. So breaking down of food to get energy, breaking down of oxygen to get energy, all those things are destructive process. We are destructing a particular complex to simple one, right? So catabolism is a destructive process and anabolism is a constructive process. So hope this is clear for you all. Clear for you all. So catabolism is the breakdown of larger molecules and anabolism is the synthesis of larger molecules, as we have seen in this figure. A larger molecule is break down into simpler ones. A simpler molecule is combined together to form larger ones. So moving on with the next topic, consciousness. Hope that yes, the last topic of the day. Yes, Binaya. Yes, Abhijit. Yes, Jagadevi. Everyone. So this is the last topic. So hope all the properties we have learned till now is clear for you, right? After completing this consciousness, I will ask you questions regarding what we have learned till now. Okay. So we have to understand. I have to understand whether it is clear for you or not, right? So you should comment me with the answers with the full Josh. So do you want a gap to drink some water? Do you want some gap to drink some water? Come on. Yes. Okay, have some water and let's move on. After that, let's move on with consciousness. Everyone, just have some water right now. Lifesaver, it is sir, not ma'am. And Avantika Verma, no, no, no. Okay, okay, okay. Anyway, I had some water. Let's move on with the next topic that is consciousness. Okay, my throat was a bit dried up. That's why I have asked you to take a break to drink some water. Anyway, I had that. Okay, so let's move on with the next topic consciousness. Fine. So we have completed different topics called we have what moved on with certain topics called reproduction, growth, cellular structure, metabolism, and now we are moving on with this next topic consciousness. Okay, everyone. Yes. So consciousness, as we have discussed, it is a response to an external stimulus. That is awareness of its surrounding. We all living organisms are aware about the respective surrounding, and we all just react to what sudden reflex will be there in order to react to an external stimuli. That is, whether the stimuli is a physical, chemical, or a biological one, we will respond to it. Okay, whether even if we are having, we are just touching, as we have discussed right at the beginning, if we are touching a hot pan, suddenly we will kick back our hands, withdraw our hands from the pan in order to ensure our safety. That's a sudden reflex. So such response, awareness, awareing about the respective surrounding and response to a particular stimulus is known as consciousness. Touch me not plant. As you have seen this diagram, touch me not plant. When we touch it, soon its leaves start to fold. Right? It leaves starts to fold. It is a response to our its response to a stimulus of touch. Okay. And the second figure, as you have shown, a nail and the leg. If you are just what keeping a step on that nail, soon we withdraw our legs, right? You know, because of the pain that we are and that we are due to the pain that you are suffering because of the pain getting in the nail getting into our leg. All these are reflexes. So, response to these external stimuli is known as consciousness or responsiveness, and the stimuli may be physical, chemical, or biological. And only living organism. Do you have you seen any non-living organisms? Okay, 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 Subrat. I will speak slow. I thought that I am speaking much slow compared to the other lectures. Okay, if you are not able to follow, surely I will speak slowly. So, have anyone seen any non-living organisms just responding to a stimulus? Have you seen a dead ant or a dead mosquito? If we touch, have you seen it responding to us? Have you seen that it's saying hi to us after it is dead? No, right? So if anything which is after dead or which is non-living, for example, if it is a flask right in front of me, I have a flask, and if I'm touching or if I'm asking anything to that flask, will it respond? Will it answer back my reply back to my question? No. So non-living organisms do not respond to an external stimulus, whether it is physical, chemical, or biological. Okay, so we can see this consciousness as a defining property of living organisms. Is it clear? Have you all understood what I have said about consciousness? Have you all understood? Come on, come on, come on. The final topic, is it clear? If it's clear, our first lecture is successful. Yes, Devish. Yes, Lucifer. Others, come on. Yes, Balasubramanian. Yes, Abhijit. Yes, Binaya. Yes, Nantida. Yes, Soumya. Yes, Nisha. Yes, everyone. So finally, our first lecture is ultimately successful. So now what I am going to ask you is that till what all we have studied, which all are the defining properties? Which all are the defining properties? Which all are the defining properties? Come on. The first property we have discussed is growth. Is it a defining property? Is growth a defining property? No, right? Second topic that we have learned is reproduction. Cellular structures, metabolism, and consciousness. Exactly. Reproduction. My God, I'm not able to write. Mouse is not working. Okay, anyway, reproduction is also not a defining property, right? The third topic that we have learned is cellular structure. Cellular structure. Is cellular structure a defining property? Yes, only living organisms have living cells. So we can say cellular structure as a defining property. Fourth one we have discussed is metabolism. Is metabolism a defining property? Yes, metabolism is also a defining property, but one exception is there. Yes, Paki, you are too late. Now we are just moving on with the question discussion after this. Okay, fine. So metabolism can occur even after, even it is outside a cell too, living cell. So there is one exception in case of metabolism, that is it is less prior when compared to cellular structure, and the other one, that is the fifth topic that we have learned, consciousness. Consciousness. Yes, consciousness, if you take in case of consciousness, it is a defining property because only living organisms respond to an external stimuli. Sir, if we are comparing non-living and living things, yes, that's what we have did right now. Now, what we have discussed is just by analyzing these features, we have to determine whether an organism is living or a non-living one. I mean, whether it is a defining property of life. By that is whether by checking whether if an organism reproduce, can we conclude that it is a living being? No, because both non-living and living organs, that is both mules, worker honeybees, and infertile human couples also reproduce. Right. So we cannot conclude reproduction as a defining property. Right. So we are just comparing how these features can determine whether an organism is living or not. Is that clear? So now what we are going to do is we are moving on with a question discussion of what we have learned so far in this session. Are you all ready, guys? Are you all ready to comment down the answers? Yes. So let's move on with the first question of the day. Mark the incorrect statement with respect to metabolism. Incorrect statement, not correct. Read each and every terms very carefully. Incorrect terms with respect to metabolism. Incorrect statement. Option A, microbes exhibit the metabolism. Option B, it is a property of all living forms. Option C, the metabolic reactions can be demonstrated in vitro. Option D, it is not a defining feature of living organisms. Nisha says D. Lucifer says C. So C, in C you have a term called in vitro. What is this in vitro? In vitro means these metabolic reactions can be taken, what can be demonstrated outside a cell. Yes, Abhijit says D, Nantida says C, Paki says B. Read the question carefully. Incorrect statement. The answer is the answer is it is not a defining feature of living forms, life forms. Why? We have discussed that metabolism is a defining feature of living organism, but compared to the other, it has a lesser priority, right? If metabolism only is asked, metabolism itself has its own priority, and all the other statement, microbes, they are living, right? They exhibit metabolism, and as we have discussed, it's a property of all living forms. Then third statement, metabolic reactions can be demonstrated in vitro. That is, it means it can be demonstrated outside a cell. Okay, and the last option, it is not a defining feature. It is exactly the incorrect statement. Hope it's clear for you. Moving on with the second question of the day. Non-living objects exhibit or show. Which of the following is shown by non-living object? First one is property of self-replication. Second one, evolution. Third one, self-regulating interactive systems. Fourth option, that is reversible growth. Which is exhibited by non-living objects? Come on, guys, comment down the answers. Be fast. Be fast. Lucifer D. Okay. Paki says D. Sonia says D. Yes, exactly. Non-living objects show reversible growth. That is the answer. Yes, everyone. Well done. Well done. Everyone have commented it right. Moving on to the third question. Which statement is false about growth shown by non-living object? False about. False. Have to read each and every point very carefully. Okay. False about the growth shown by non-living objects. The growth occurs from outside. The growth is reversible. The growth is due to accumulation of material on the surface. The growth is intrinsic. Which is false about the growth shown by non-living objects? Come on. Come on, come on. Answer this right now. False statement. Growth occurs from outside. Growth is reversible. Growth is due to accumulation of material on the surface. Growth is intrinsic. B, 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 B. Intrinsic means internal only. Growth is internal only. Okay. Have given a clue to right before you. Yes. Everyone is keeping it with option B. Balasubramanian says A. Nisha says D. Any others? Paki says A. So both A, B, C, D, everything is there right in front of us. Very good. And yes, it's external too. Then what is the answer? Then what is the answer? The answer is option D. Growth is intrinsic. Growth is intrinsic means it is internal only. So Abhijit have commented that it is external too. Then why have commented option B? Come on. It is irreversible. No, Abhijit. In case of that is what we have discussed in the previous question, right? In case of non-living objects, they grow just by surface accumulation. So due to weathering, if it's just degraded, if it's just destroyed, it's just moves back, right? It just moves back to its original state. So it is reversible. After that, again by accumulation of stones or sands, it again starts to grow. So growth is reversible too. It occurs from outside. Yes, it occurs from outside by surface accumulation. Third point, by accumulation of material on surface. Yes, it's correct. The option for growth is intrinsic only. Intrinsic only is exactly wrong. Intrinsic means it is occurring internally. In humans or multicellular organisms, growth occurs internally, whereas in case of non-living things, what happens? There is external growth. In humans, also increase in height, increase in the nails, size of nails. All these are external growth. Moving on with the next question. The defining property of living organism. Yes, one of the questions that determines whether you have understood the concept or not. Metabolism, reproduction, metabolism, consciousness, cell division. Which is the answer? A, B, C, or D? What happens? What happened, Binaya? B by Paki. Come on. D by Nantita. D by Saumya. A by Balasubramanian. Balasubramanian. Read it carefully. Yes, D by Abhishek. Jagadevi says D. Paki says D. And what I have to say is that none of you have said the correct answer. The correct answer is option C. Yes, Nisha. Option C, consciousness. Because as we have discussed, reproduction, it is a not defining feature of living organism. So we can just avoid that option called reproduction. And the very second slide, I hope it's second slide, we have said that growth in multicellular organisms is by cell division. Has we said, hasn't we said that growth is not a defining property? So we should avoid option D too, whereas most of you have said it is option D. Okay, then metabolism and consciousness are two defining features of living organism, right? Metabolism and consciousness are two defining property of living organism. As we have discussed on comparing with cellular structure and consciousness, metabolism is less prior to that. So the answer is consciousness. Is it clear? But cell division doesn't take place in non-living things. Yes. But under what topic is cell division coming? It is under growth, right? Growth occurs in non-living things. Is it clear? Is it clear? Saumya? Yes, moving on with the next question. We have 10 questions total. The twin characteristics of growth are option A, increase in number of individuals, increase in mass. Option B, increase in height and increase in mass. Option C, increase in molecular weight and increase in mass. Option D, increase in size and decrease in mass. Come on, please explain again. We'll do it, okay? We'll do it. Come on, come on. Option C. I'm just moving with a bit fast, revealing the answer. You just comment down. B, because we have moved a bit ahead of our time. The answer is option A. Yes, Abhijit. It is the increase in number of individuals and increase in mass. Increase in size and increase in mass. If it was increase in size and increase in mass, option D will be correct. Increase in molecular weight and increase in mass. Not only molecular weight, both physical weight too. Right? Increase in height and increase in mass is not a twin characteristic of growth. In NCRT, if you read the NCRT, the perfect sentence is given there. Increase in number of individuals and increase in mass are the twin characteristics of growth. Increase in number of individuals and increase in mass. Okay. The next question, the statement nothing lives forever yet life continues illustrate the role of. The statement nothing lives forever yet life continues illustrate the role of. Come on. Embryogenesis, morphogenesis, replication, reproduction. All these are statements of NCRT. It will be clear after covering that too. Okay. Yes, exactly. Option D, reproduction is the answer. Even if nothing lives forever, yet life continues because after before it is dying, they are just reproducing in order to ensure. In order to ensure the continuity of species. Seventh question in which organism reproduction can be considered synonymous with growth? That is, both reproduction and growth are having almost same meaning and same process. In which organism? Amoeba, planaria, starfish, and two of the above. We haven't discussed that. The answer is amoeba. In amoeba, both reproduction and growth are considered synonymous. That is, almost they are equal. Okay, almost all the process of growth and reproduction in amoeba is equal. Therefore, in amoeba, reproduction and growth are considered synonymous. Is that clear? Is that clear? Next question. Which of the following organs? Come on, comment down your answers and it's your turn. Mules, infertile human couples, worker bees, all of the above. Come on. Yes, option D, all of these. Yes, everyone, very good walk. And again, someone in between. Abhijit commented A, both A, B, C, and D. Yes, Abhijit. Correct. Then Bal Subramanian commented C. Come on, correct it. Okay. Next question. Unicellular organisms multiply by cell differentiation, cell growth, cell division, and cell death. We have discussed that too in the second slide. How unicellular organisms multiply. Come on. Unicellular organisms multiply by. Yes, exactly. Option C, cell division. Unicellular organisms multiply by cell division. And the last question of the day. In plants, cell division occurs dash, whereas in animals it occurs dash. Option A, only up to certain age. Option B, continuously. Option B, continuously, only up to certain age. Option C, continuously and continuously. Option D, only up to certain age and only up to certain age. Abhijit, read it carefully. In plants, growth is lifelong, that is continuously, and in animals it stops after a certain time. Exactly, option B is the answer. Continuously and only up to a certain age. Is it clear? Is it clear? Yes, and that's all for today. Now, what I have to remind you again is that join our Telegram group t.me/neet_biopoint, where you have the daily schedule, where you can interact with me, have MCQs in the form of polls, and you have mentor doubt clearance. So that's all for today. Thank you for joining us. Do hit the like button, do share it with your friends, and do subscribe Biopoint, stream the world of bio. And thank you guys. Thanks for patient listening. And in evening, right at 4:15 p.m., you have another session on career guidance, that is career options available after class 12, that is for your better stream selection without any confusions. Okay guys, and after completing the entire topic of living world, visa will be coming live with underlining the each and every point from your NCR. So thank you all. Thanks for being patient listening. It's me signing out from your favorite and my favorite Biopoint, stream the world of bio. Bye bye.